Today, Elon Musk became first trillionaire. And when I heard about it, I was glad for him. I have deep admiration for Elon Musk, and I think he deserves every piece of wealth he has for his innovation, for his contribution to freedom of speech, for his invention, for his organizational skills and abilities, for his incredible abilities to raise money. But then I saw many tweets where people showed their resentfulness. A lot of people start claiming that he doesn't deserve this money, that it's too much, $1 trillion, that we can have free healthcare, and many other nonsense. Because it was really nonsense. It just shows your resentfulness. And it stopped me a little bit, and I was thinking for a while why it's so useless to share thoughts like this and why it's so incorrect. And then I thought that when you live in time of social media, you actually always under delusions because you don't appreciate your own wealth, because you always compare your own wealth with the wealth of others. Because even the poorest man in America has more now that people before, like 100 years ago, or maybe people in other countries. The way we live now in America or people in Europe, we're incredibly successful in some sense because we don't need much. We don't need millions of dollars. We just need necessities, and we have those necessities. Everyone has everything they need. I mean, really need, because you have food, you have shelter, you have access to the online world, you have iPhones, you have computers, you have everything literally you need. But the problem is this constant comparison to the world richest successful people. And then you look at yourself and you actually don't have anything. But it's because of the comparison to them. You should compare yourself to yourself yesterday or to yourself a year ago. When you constantly busy yourself with comparison to others, you always lose because actually you don't know how other people live. You see their illusion. And you can see this because you try to do the same illusion, try to make the same illusion online. And that's the problem with online world. It's absolutely delusional. And that's why people who assume, based on other people's pictures, posts, comments, you cannot assume how happy they are, how successful they are, based on what they post, because now you can fake it with artificial intelligence, a lot of things. You have to take every information with a grain of salt. Otherwise, you can go crazy. Because you have to mind your own business. You have to understand your own self. You have to compare yourself to yourself only, because other people do not matter in this case. You don't know how they live. You have no idea what they're going through. You have no idea even what Elon Musk currently going through, because you cannot look inside his head. You don't know his thoughts, you don't know his drama, you don't know his suffering, tragedy, misery. Money is just money. And what he has giant responsibility in all this multi-billion dollars company that he runs at the same time. And I think it's incredible amount of stress he handles every single day. And when people assume it's easy, when people assume it's just everybody can do this, they're literally on the delusional world for you, because they really don't understand how hard it is to run your own business, small business. But if you take a multi-billion dollars companies, there's giant responsibility for 1,000 people who works for you. I don't think people realize how hard is that. And of course they decided to adopt the resentfulness. And the resentfulness, this prism of resentfulness, they very quickly justify their anger, their envy, and their almost murderous desire toward the most successful, productive element of the society. And it's kind of something reminds me from communism, from socialism, from Marxism, where people judge other people based on their success as a bad people. If somebody has more money than you are, it's very easy to think that this person is bad just because he's more successful. Because what you do, you in some sense build this projection. If I couldn't succeed, it's not because maybe I'm not smart enough, maybe I'm not talented enough. It's because this person did something wrong. This person broke the law. This person cheated. This person lied. And since I'm such a good person, almost noble person, I would never lie, I would never cheat, I would never go over somebody's heads. That's why I'm so unsuccessful in this environment that now currently in the West and Americas propagate only to those who are corrupt. And that's why a lot of people in some sense develop this resentfulness, because their worldview is incorrect. What you have to do, you have to understand that everything is in your hands. But for this you have to take responsibility for your own life. But for this you have to have right worldview. But for this you have to see the world as it is. Nobody cares, and the world always will be unfair. What you have to do, you have to become fair yourself. And it doesn't matter that the world unfair. It doesn't matter that the world treats you unfair, because the world is just out there and you just here, and you have to learn to be fair to yourself, because you cannot be fair to the world if you're unfair to yourself. And when you develop this resentfulness toward the successful people, what you do, you disregard their achievements, while at the same time you can actually learn from their achievements, but you disregard their achievement and you decided to hate them for no reason. And you don't understand that this hate goes toward you, toward your development, toward your own evolution, toward your own ability to understand what exactly wrong with you, why you're so miserable, and why you want to have this resentfulness in your heart. And once you start understanding this, suddenly you realize that Elon Musk is just a man who incredibly successful because of his talents, because of his ability to innovation, because of his incredible organizational skills, his ability to raise money. He has so many stuff that you can actually learn from him if you observe him carefully. If you read articles about him, you would understand partially why he is successful, and maybe you will learn something, and maybe you will try to adapt something from him on yourself and try to learn. That's the most important thing. Now, for example, in social media, we have two edges. One, the worst edge that everybody seems like propagate upon themselves, is this constant delusional comparison to other people. The other edge not many people use, you can actually have access to the library of knowledge, and you can learn so many things for free. You can develop yourself for free. There's so many great minds you can study online for free every day at any time. But what people do, they look for comparison, and they compare to some delusions that other people created using artificial intelligence. And then what the people do, okay, they have this stuff, and I envy and I feel so resentful. Let me create some delusions too with AI and post it. And then they create this like a ball, like a snowball that keep rolling and accumulating this weight and power. And everybody becomes so resentful, so hateful, they cannot even show some humility, become humble and see like, wow, great that he made so much money. Great that he do what he do. Maybe I disagree with his political views, but it doesn't matter. He made great cars. He made reusable rockets. His SpaceX is booming. He made his own incredibly successful AI like Grok. He made Starlinks that connect the world. He made so many good things. He made X much more freer than it was before. I mean, there's so many things to look upon from the good side. You have to look at the world from the good side, from a positive side. Of course, there's bad things. Of course, there's bad people. Of course, we all make mistakes. But if you concentrate on those mistakes constantly, you put yourself through hell voluntarily for some reason, because hell eventually will be waiting for you on a certain stages of your life, because you can get disease tomorrow. Maybe now there's something in you and you don't know yet. We can die any moment, and to live to let this resentfulness to fill your heart is just missing your entire life, because you're not going to find meaningful existence with resentful in your heart, because gratitude is the point. You have to be grateful that you live at the most prosperous time, in the most prosperous country on the planet, that you have food in the refrigerator, that you have supercomputer in your hands like iPhone, you have computer on your desk, you have so much comfort, you have AC unit in your apartment. Almost everybody in America has AC unit in their apartment. When I grew up back in Russia, we didn't have AC units. We didn't have to open the windows. It was hot outside and inside with a bunch of mosquitoes. We have so much comfort that we forgot how lucky we are. We just accept it for granted. We accepted that all this comfort we have right now come from people like Elon Musk, because these people created, innovated, and invested money into risky stuff. And a lot of them failed. There's more people failed than succeeded. And we don't know about them. We have no compassion to them. There's so many people who failed. But those who failed, in some sense, participated in success of those people who succeeded. Because that's how it works. On every great book, there's millions of bad books written. I don't hate Stephen King just because he sells millions of books, because he's better than I am. But I still have hope that maybe I will sell some of my books. Maybe I will become self-sustained indie author. I don't want to hate nobody. I don't hate Joe Rogan because his podcast has billions and my podcast maybe 2-3 people who listen to it. I don't hate them. I learn from them. I try to understand why they're so successful. I watch their podcast all the time, because that's the point. It's not the point to constantly hate everybody, especially in this country that was built on meritocracy, that was built on capitalism, that we try to amplify the best in people, the best of us. Because when you amplify the best in other people, you in some sense amplify the best in you. Because we all have something good, and it's so easy to go to hell of your worst behavior. Because once you go there, it's so hard to come back, because all your worldview becomes so delusional and self-cannibalism. You start eating yourself from the inside, and you stop having any hope, and your heart becomes resentful. But the world is not so bad. There's many bad things happen, yes, but you have to learn, take responsibility for your life. Take responsibility for your existence. Have self-respect. Don't demand respect from others. Have respect for yourself first. And then show respect to this world. Show respect to successful people. I think one of those reasons why people don't show respect to Elon Musk is because they have no respect for themselves. Just show respect for yourself a little bit. And if you don't like the guy, it's fine. You don't have to like everybody, but show respect that the guy became first trillionaire on this planet. We have to show some respect, some humility, some humbleness. It's like, yeah, cool, I like it. Or I don't like him, but still cool, Show some humbleness, humility. Because life is about being respectful to yourself, because you are the one who's alive, and it's your life. And if you're respectful to yourself, you're respectful to your own life, and then you're respectful to everyone else who deserve your respect. And you know how you can identify who deserve your respect? People who you like, people who you look up to. And you have to think, why do I like this person? If you like this person just because his or her resentfulness is the same as yours, that's not respect. That's masochism. That's cannibalism. You cannibalism each other. You're like two cannibals try to eat each other. But if you like based on respect and admiration that, Elon Musk achieved so many things and you want to learn something from him, that's real respect. And once you have this real respect, you suddenly realize that there's no place for resentfulness in my heart. I just accept that, okay, maybe I'm not as good as these people. It's fine, because I'll find my own place under the sun, but better be small but independent in your own smallness than with the big delusion of grandeur and filled with this pathetic Set resentfulness. Be respectful to yourself and be respectful to the world and to people who truly deserve your respect.